The space station floated quietly above a dying moon. Ben sat inside his small workshop, legs crossed on the floor, fixing a broken coolant valve. He was the only human stationed here, hundreds of light years from any major colony. He didn't mind the silence. Machines made more sense to him than people. They didn't talk back or cause trouble. His job was simple: to repair any ship that came through the fringe trade route. Most of the time it was cargo haulers or tiny scout vessels needing a fuel boost or hull patch. But today felt different. Even before the strange ship arrived, Ben had a feeling in his chest, like something was about to change. Then the alarm pinged. An unknown vessel was approaching, limping through space with a broken engine trail. Ben leaned forward and stared. At the screen, the ship was unlike anything he had ever seen. Its shape was sharp, angular, and covered in strange, glowing veins. Not a single human marking was on it. Unregistered, the computer said. No response to standard comms. Ben rubbed his chin. He sent a manual signal and waited. A few seconds later, the ship sent a short message. Request emergency dock. Non-hostile. In need of repair. He granted permission. The docking bay lights turned green, and the alien ship slowly settled inside. Sparks and smoke hissed from its rear engine. Ben grabbed his tool belt and walked toward the airlock, his boots echoing in the empty hall. The hatch opened. Thick mist rolled out, and a tall figure stepped forward. The alien wore a full-body suit, smooth, dark, and shiny, like a mix of armor and skin. A sleek helmet covered the face, with two glowing eyes behind the visor. The suit gave off a quiet hum, like it breathed on its own. Ben took a small step back, unsure. Welcome, he said. You're safe here. I'm Ben, engineer and station caretaker. The figure nodded. Jira, a filtered voice replied. My ship, damaged. Engine failure. Systems weak. I see that, Ben said, trying to sound calm. I'll start repairs right away. You can wait in the crew lounge. It's not much, but it has food and water. No need. I stay with ship. Ben shrugged. Suit yourself. For the next 2 hours, Ben worked under the alien ship's belly, crawling through pipes and cracked shielding. Jira watched in. Silence, always close, like a shadow. Ben could feel her eyes behind the helmet, studying every move he made. He tried not to let it bother him, but it did. Most aliens he'd met were talkative, curious. Yara said nothing more than a few words, always with a tone that was hard to read, neither friendly nor hostile. Still, Ben kept trying. He explained each repair step aloud, partly to teach, partly to feel less alone. This part here, he said, tapping a broken stabilizer, controls your rear thrusters. No wonder your ship was swaying like a drunk bird. No laugh. Just silence later. While scanning the core systems, Ben noticed something odd. The internal tech wasn't uniform. It looked like Jara had used parts from multiple ships. Some alien, some human, even one section that looked pre-Federation. It didn't make sense. Did you build this thing yourself? Ben asked, half-dashed joking. Double quotes, I fixed it, Jira answered. Yeah, but this is advanced stuff, not just patchwork. This is survival engineering. Who taught you? Jara didn't answer. She just turned and walked back into the ship. Ben sighed. Okay then. Over the next few days, Ben and Jara worked together. Well, not together, more like near each other. She never left the docking bay, rarely ate, and always wore her suit.
Ow.
Ben brought her protein bars and water packs, but she only accepted them with a nod and no words. Still, small things changed. Once, when Ben dropped a tool, she handed it to him gently. Another time, when a fuse sparked in his face, she pulled him back and checked his forehead for burns. Her touch was careful. It's like she wasn't used to handling humans. Ben noticed more signs that Jira wasn't just some soldier or pilot. Inside her ship, he found old, worn-out wires fixed with hand-tied knots. Small, carved shapes hung near her. Bed figures of animals and stars. Someone who decorated like that wasn't cold or heartless. She had memories, maybe even hope. One evening, Ben sat on a crate rubbing his sore arms. No, he said, you don't have to stay quiet. All the time I don't bite. Jira tilted her helmet slightly but said nothing. Okay, fine. Strong, silent type. But if you ever feel like talking, music helps. He played a soft tune on his old device, gentle earth melody with a humming rhythm. He left it running as he worked. After a while, he noticed Jira standing still, head tilted as if listening. He smiled to himself. Things felt different now. Not quite friendship, but something forming. Ben was used to fixing things. Broken parts, busted engines, worn-out circuits. But he had never tried fixing a silence this deep before. Still, something told him that under that suit, Jira wasn't so different from him. Just alone. Just tired. He didn't know yet, but very soon, that silence would break in a way he never expected. The next morning, Ben woke to the soft hum of machines and the smell of burnt wires. He jumped up from his bed, grabbed his tool belt, and rushed to the docking bay. The alien ship was glowing faintly. Something inside was active. He found Jira. Standing near an open panel, tools in hand. She was working fast, almost desperately. Her armored fingers adjusting wires and circuits with speed Ben hadn't seen before. "Hey," Ben said, walking closer. "Easy, you're going to burn out. The relay, if you keep that up." Jira paused. Energy spike. Something wrong in core? Ben stepped in beside her and checked the screen. She was right. The energy readings were unstable. Small overload warning blinked red. "I can fix this," he said. "Just need a stabilizer patch." She stepped back and let him work. For the first time, she didn't hover over him. She watched quietly but didn't interfere. While he worked, he glanced at her and asked, "So, what happened to your world?" Jira was silent. "You don't have to answer," he said softly. I see how you treat this ship. It's like it's all you've got." Jira finally spoke. "It is." Her voice was quiet, no longer filtered through cold commands. Ben nodded. "I get that. People think I'm strange for working alone on this old station. But sometimes it's easier with machines than with people." Jira tilted her head. "Machines don't lie." He smiled a little. "Yeah, exactly." After a moment, Jira turned and walked back inside her ship. Ben followed slowly, curious. The inside was dim, filled with soft blue lights and strange symbols carved into the walls. Ben had been in many alien ships, but this one felt different, more personal, like someone had lived in it for a long time. On one wall there were pictures, digital ones, real drawings scratched into metal. Stars, animals, even what looked like a small child holding hands with a taller figure. "Is that your family?" Ben asked. Zhra didn't answer right away. She stared at the drawing for a long moment. "They're gone," she finally said. Ben's smile faded. "I'm sorry, pirates." She added, I built this ship from pieces. I've been running ever since." Ben looked around. Now he understood why the ship felt like a shelter. It wasn't just transportation, it was survival. It was memory. "You did all this yourself?" he asked. Zhra gave a slow nod. "I had to. No one else." Ben leaned against the wall. "Here? Not alone now." Jira looked at him but said nothing. Still, something in her eyes seemed softer. For the next few days, they worked together more closely. Jira let Ben inside more parts of her ship, showing him the deeper systems. Ben taught her how to use some of his tools, and she showed him how her energy cells worked. It became a quiet rhythm work, rest, and sometimes soft music in the background. Night. While checking a power junction, Ben almost fell from a ladder. Jira caught him quickly, pulling him back with surprising strength. "You're fast," Ben said, laughing nervously. Jira looked down at her hand holding his arm, then quickly let go. "I trained. Before what?" "Before I was alone." Ben didn't ask more. He could see the weight in her posture. It's not just tiredness, but something deeper lost that hadn't healed. Later that evening, Ben brought 2 small ration packs to the ship. "I thought maybe we could eat together," he said. Zhra hesitated but nodded. She sat across from him on the hangar floor, still in her full suit. Ben unwrapped his pack and started eating. "You don't take the helmet off?" he asked carefully. "No, Because of air? No, because of me. Ben blinked. I don't understand. Jera didn't explain. She just sat quietly. After a while, she reached out and took the pack. She didn't eat it, but held it in her hands like it was something precious. The silence between them wasn't heavy. It was calm. For the first time. Ben didn't feel like a stranger on his own station. The next morning, Ben noticed the ship was almost fully repaired. Only a few systems needed final checks. It meant she'd be leaving soon. The thought surprised him. He had gotten used to her presence. The quiet, the teamwork, the silent music they shared without speaking. He walked into the docking bay and saw her inside the engine room, adjusting the last pieces. You'll be leaving soon, he said, Jera. Looked up, yes. You have somewhere to go? No, just away. Right. Ben scratched his head. You know, you could stay a little longer. We could finish those extra upgrades we talked about. Jera was quiet for a moment. Then she said, maybe. As Ben walked back to his side of the station, he felt something he hadn't in a long time. Not just purpose, but connection. Someone else was here who understood what it meant to be lost. But that night, everything changed. Ben was asleep when the station's warning alarm went off, red lights flashed, and the voice of the computer echoed through the halls. Unauthorized signal detected, energy spike in alien vessel. Ben jumped out of bed, grabbed his gear, and ran to the docking bay. The lights were flickering, and the alien ship's engine glowed too bright. He rushed inside and found Jera on the floor, shaking, her suit sparking at the joints. Smoke came from her helmet's side. Jera, he shouted, running to her. The voice was weak. Suit failing. Hold on, Ben said. I'll shut down the core. But before he could move, Jera reached up and began pulling off her helmet. Wait, Ben said, turning around quickly. You don't have to. I do, she whispered. With one hand, she clicked the release on her helmet. The sound of the seal breaking filled the room. Ben didn't turn around. He kept his eyes on the wall, heart pounding. Double quotes, C.H. Era, are you okay? He asked. Her voice came back, soft and clear. No filter, no armor. Yes, still me. Ben kept his back turned, unsure of what to do. His hands were shaking slightly, not from fear but from confusion. He had seen many aliens in his life, some with sharp features, some with glowing skin, even a few that floated instead of walked. But Jera had never taken off her helmet, not once. And now, with her suit sparking and her voice unfiltered, he didn't know what he was about to see. He heard her footsteps behind him. Slow, careful. You can turn now, Jera said softly. Ben turned around, heart still pounding. She stood there with the helmet in her hand. The rest of her armored suit still covered her body, but her face was exposed. It wasn't what Ben had expected. Zhao H. Era looked almost human. Her skin was a soft gray like moonlight. Her eyes were large, glowing faintly blue, but gentle. Her hair was silver, tied back tightly. She had no scars, no harsh lines. Instead, there was a calm beauty in her face, something quiet and tired. She looked young, but her eyes held many years. Ben stared, unsure of what to say. You thought I would be different? She said. I didn't know what to expect, he replied honestly. But you're not scary. Not at all. She gave a tiny smile. I wore the suit for too long. It protected me, but it also hid me. Ben nodded slowly. Are you hurt? Jera looked down at her arm where sparks had flown earlier. Minor burns, nothing deep. I'll grab the med. Kit, Ben said. As he turned to leave, she spoke again. You don't need to be afraid of me, Ben. He paused. I'm not, just surprised. Later, inside the station's workshop, Jera sat quietly while Ben patched her wounds. He worked carefully, applying a cooling gel to the burn marks on her forearm. You could have been safe inside your ship, he said softly. Why risk? Coming here, the core was unstable, she answered. I needed help, and I didn't want to hide anymore. Ben glanced at her. You're brave, Jera. Braver than most people I know. She looked away, unsure how to reply. The silence between them was no longer awkward. It felt like something unspoken was being understood. After he finished treating her injuries, Ben handed her a clean cloth. You can rest here tonight. My station has extra rooms. Nothing fancy, but warm and quiet. Gira hesitated, then nodded. Before leaving, she looked at him and said, Your kindness? It's rare. Not really, Ben replied. You've just been around the wrong people. She gave a faint smile and walked away. The next day, Gira wore only a light suit, not armor, but something soft and simple. She moved through the station more freely, even joining Ben for a meal in the main kitchen. They ate quietly, sharing dry rations and water. What will you do once your ship is fully fixed? Ben asked between bites. Era looked at the table. I don't know. I've been running for so long I forgot what stillness feels like. Ben leaned back in his chair. You could stay a while. This place isn't much, but there's room for two. She looked at him, surprised. You would allow that? Yeah, he said. Honestly, I've been alone too long. Kind of nice having someone who knows how to fix things and doesn't talk too much. She smiled gently. Then maybe I will stay. For a little while, a few days passed. Gira helped repair broken systems around the station. She was skilled, quick, and precise. Ben watched her work and learned new tricks from her. Sometimes they listened to music together. Other times they shared stories. Era talked more now. She told Ben about her home world, a planet with crystal lakes and soft winds, now gone. Right. Pirates had destroyed it while she was away on a supply run. She returned to smoke, silence, and ruins. I found nothing, she said one night, her voice shaking. No bodies, just ashes. Ben didn't say anything. He just sat beside her, offering quiet company. You think I'm broken? She asked. No, Ben replied. I think you're still standing. That's something not many can do after losing everything. Gira looked at him with her glowing eyes. You're strange, Ben, so I've been told. But peace never lasts in space. One morning, the long-range scanners beeped. Ben checked the screen and frowned. Unmarked. Vessel fast. Heading this way. Gira looked over his shoulder. Her face grew pale. Pirates, she whispered. They found me. Ben stood up. Are you sure? She nodded. Same signal pattern. They track anything they don't understand. They must have followed the repair signals. How long until? They arrive, Ben asked. Double quotes, hours? Maybe less. Ben took a deep breath. We'll fight. Gira turned to him, shocked. Oh, you should leave. This is not your war. You think I'll run now? He said, not after everything. Besides, I've got a few tricks on this old station. She stared at him. Why? Because you trusted me, Ben said simply. And I don't leave people who do that. Jira's eyes softened. Then she stood tall. Then we prepare. Together. They began upgrading the defenses. Gira helped reroute power to the station's old plasma turrets. Ben programmed the shields to pulse in rhythm with the pirate scanners, throwing off their lock systems. They moved quickly, side by side, their bond stronger now than ever. As the pirate ship entered the outer orbit, Gira stood by the viewport and whispered, This time, I won't run. And Ben, standing next to her, replied, Then let's show them what two broken people can do when they fight together. The pirate ship entered the system fast. Its hull was black with red markings, shaped like claws. Ben had seen ships like this before, but only from reports. They were made for speed, damage, and fear. Ben stood at the main control panel inside. The station's command room. Gira stood beside him, now wearing her light suit again, but with a small energy pack on her back and a tool belt around her waist. Their weapons are strong, Gira said, her voice calm. But their pilots are careless. Ben nodded. We just need to outthink them. He had already activated the old defense grid. The station wasn't made for battle, but it had a few old surprises. Plasma turrets, sensor jammers, and auto-locking. Mines were hidden beneath the docking platform. Era single quotes as ship was also ready. The last few repairs were finished the night before. The engine now ran smoother than ever. She had installed new shield plates from Ben's spare parts. It looked like a mix of two worlds, alien and human. They're scanning us, Ben said. As he watched the screen, "They know your ship's here." Jira narrowed her eyes. "Then let them come." The first attack came fast. A sharp energy beam struck the outer shield, shaking the station slightly. The alarm lights blinked red, and Ben tightened his grip on the console. "Shields holding," he said. "But not for long." "Return fire?" Jira asked. Ben looked at her. "You ready for that?" "I've been ready for years." Ben gave a firm nod. "Then let's fight." He sent a signal to activate the plasma turrets. The old machines groaned to life, slowly turning to face the pirate ship. They fired in a rough pattern, not very accurate, but strong enough to make the pirate ship dodge. "They're confused," Jera said. "They expected an easy win." Ben smiled. "Good. Confusion means mistakes." Jira jumped into her ship and powered up. Ben watched as the glowing blue light from her engine lit up the docking bay. She flew out with a sudden burst, faster than he had ever seen before. On the screen, Ben saw her small ship weaving between enemy blasts. She moved like she was dancing, each motion careful, each strike precise. Her first shot hit the pirate ship's wing. Sparks flew. Ben couldn't stop watching. She was graceful, strong, fearless. "She's amazing," he whispered. "ZH era." Single quotes, his voice came through the comm. "Ben, activate trap 7. Now." He pressed the button quickly. The trap was an old mining drone, now loaded with an explosive charge. It flew out and attached itself to the pirate ship's rear, detonating in 3, 2, 1, Ben said. The screen flashed white. When the light faded, one of the pirate ship's engines was gone. The vessel started spinning slowly, trying to gain control. "Direct hit," Jira said. But before Ben could cheer, another signal appeared on the radar. "Second ship incoming," he shouted. "ZH," Ira growled. They brought back up. Ben gritted his teeth. "We can't win in a long fight." "Then we finish it now," Jera replied. ZH Era flew close to the main pirate ship, dodging its weapons. The second ship stayed back, waiting. "Ben had an idea, Jera," he called. "If you can lead the main ship toward the station, I can use the station's shield overload trick." She understood at once. "Copy, coming in fast." Ben ran to the shield controls and overcharged the system. The shield would pulse for a few seconds, enough to release a large burst of energy. ZH Era flew toward the station. The pirate ship followed, angry and careless. Right when it got close, Ben hit the release. A bright wave of energy surged from the station's shield, hitting the pirate ship's front. The metal glowed and cracked. Fire burst from one side, spun out of control and hit a floating mine, exploding completely. The second ship turned sharply and started fleeing. They had seen enough. ZH Era circled back and landed in the bay. Ben ran to meet her as she climbed out of the ship. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded. "We did it." "Did," Ben said, breathing hard but smiling. She looked around. "Your station held. Barely. It needs repairs again." "Then let's fix it," she said with a small smile. Over the next 2 days, they worked together fixing the damage. Smoke was cleared, wires were replaced, and the shield system was reset. Everything was quieter now, peaceful again. ZH Era didn't wear her helmet anymore. She moved freely through the station, often beside Ben. They talked more, laughed even. Ben realized something had changed. He didn't feel lonely anymore. He didn't wait for the next ship to arrive just to pass time. He looked forward to mornings when Jira would join him in the workshop. One evening, while they sat on the rooftop deck of the station, watching stars pass slowly, Ben asked, "Do you still plan to leave?" Jira was silent for a moment. Then, she said, "I don't know. For the first time in many years, I feel safe." Ben smiled softly. "Then stay as long as you want." Jira looked at him. "Thank you, Ben. Not just for repairs, it's for everything." Shrugged. "You helped me too. More than you know." They sat there, side by side, not saying much more. The silence between them felt warm, not empty, deep in space. Somewhere far from the quiet station, the remaining pirate ship sent out a signal. It carried one message. The alien girl has a protector, and his ship is human. And so rumors began to spread about a lonely station, strange ship, and a human who stood beside an alien no one understood. Ben walked through the station halls with a light step. It had been over a week since the pirate attack, and for the first time in years, the station felt alive. Systems were running smoothly, the lights stayed bright, and laughter, even if soft, could sometimes be heard. HFY had stayed. Each day, she helped repair damaged systems, cleaned old modules, and improved parts of the station Ben had long forgotten about. Sometimes, she added little changes, alien tech that blended with human parts. Ben was surprised at how well their skills matched. They made a good team. This morning, Ben entered the docking bay to find Jira sitting on the floor with a toolkit, open, fixing one of the station's cleaning bots. She had tied her silver hair back, her sleeves rolled up, her hands working fast and calm. "You're making that old bot look new," Ben said with a smile. Jira glanced up. "It still works, just needs care." "That's what you said about my station," Ben laughed. "And I was right," she replied. Returning to her task, Ben walked over and sat beside her. "You know, the place feels different since you've been here?" She paused. "Different good?" "Yeah," he said. "Better." Jira didn't reply right away. She tightened a bolt, closed the panel, and powered the bot. Came to life with a happy beep and rolled away to clean the floor. She looked at Ben. "I haven't felt at peace in a long time. But here it's quiet, safe. And you don't have to wear a helmet," Ben added. HFY gave a rare smile. True, just then, the station's radar beeped. Ben stood up and walked to the console. Another ship was approaching. "Registered signal," he said. "It's not pirates." Jira walked over. "Who is it?" Ben tapped a few buttons. Patrol ship. From the Alliance." Jira's face tightened. "They might recognize my ship? You think they're a threat?" "I don't know," she said. "But they don't trust aliens like me." Ben looked at her. "Then let's greet them together." The Alliance patrol ship docked carefully. It was sleek, silver, and full of markings. HFY officers stepped out, all in clean uniforms. The leader, a tall woman with short hair, stepped forward. "Engineer Ben Coleman," she asked. Ben nodded. "That's me. We received a report of a pirate battle here. We came to investigate." "You're a little late," Ben said with a shrug. "We handled it." The officer looked around. With whose help? Kira stepped forward slowly. She wore her light suit, her face calm. Ben said. "This is Jira. She helped save the station." The officer raised her brow. "An alien? What species?" "One that lost her home to pirates," Ben said. "She's not a threat. She's a survivor." The officer stared at Jira. "Your ship doesn't match any known designs. Care to explain?" Jira answered softly. "I built it. From parts. From scraps." "You're alone?" the officer asked. HFY nodded. The officer looked at Ben. "You're harboring an unregistered alien?" "I'm offering her safety," Ben replied. The moment grew tense. The other officers reached toward their side tools. Unsure, HFY didn't move. Her voice remained calm. "If you wish to arrest me, do it. But I didn't harm anyone. I protected this place." Ben stepped forward. "She risked her life. Twice. She doesn't deserve suspicion." The officer studied them both. After a long pause, she finally spoke. "We've heard of pirates using false signals. Some even dress as civilians. But this doesn't feel like that." Ben folded his arms. "Because it's not." The officer looked at Jira. "You'll stay. On record. Not arrested, not approved, but watched." Jira nodded. "Understood." The officer turned to Ben. "We'll be back in a few weeks. If anything changes, report it." "Sure," Ben said. The patrol team left. The ship undocked and vanished into the stars. That night, Jira sat alone on the rooftop deck, looking up at the sky. Ben joined her, Bringing 2 cups of warm drink, he handed one to her. I'm sorry they treated you that way. Jera shook her head. I've seen worse. They didn't shoot. Still, Ben said. You deserve more than suspicion. Jera looked at him. I've been alone for so long, I forgot what deserve means. Ben sipped his drink. You're not alone anymore. She turned to him. Do you mean that? Yeah, he said. I do. They sat quietly, stars above, soft wind from the vents humming below. After a while, Jera asked, Do you ever miss Earth? Sometimes, Ben said, but not the noise, not the crowds. Here I can breathe. Same, she said. He looked at her. You ever think about rebuilding? Starting fresh? Jera tilted her head. Maybe, but not alone. Ben smiled. You won't have to. A few days later, Jera added a new system to the station, a hybrid scanner that could track approaching ships from twice the distance. Ben was amazed at how quickly she built it. You sure you're not half machine? He joked. Jera chuckled softly. I just learned from survival. He looked at her with quiet pride. You're more than just a survivor, Jera. You're a builder, a protector. She lowered her eyes. Thank you, Ben, for seeing that. Suddenly, the scanner beeped again. Ben looked at the screen. Another signal, he said. Jera walked over. What now? Ben read the code. Message only. No ship. Looks like a warning. They opened the message. Others are coming. More pirates. Bigger fleet. They know your location. Ben's smile faded. Jera single quotes, his face hardened. No, Ben said. But neither will we. The warning message repeated once and then disappeared. Ben stared at the screen, his face calm but serious. Jera stood beside him, her hands clenched. How many do you think? Ben asked quietly. If it's a full pirate fleet, Jera replied, then more than we can count. They don't come to scout, they come to destroy. Ben nodded slowly. Then we need to make sure they regret it. Jera looked at him. We can't win against a fleet. Your station is strong, but not enough. Maybe not, Ben said. But with your ship, with your mind, we might not need to win. Just survive, and make them pay for every move. Jera thought for a moment. We'll need traps, decoys, timed strikes. Good, Ben said. Let's get to work. Eat. Spent the next 3 days preparing the station. Sleep became short. Food was fast. Focus was everything. Jera used alien cloaking tech to hide small drone mines around the docking zone. She turned broken bots into signal jammers and disguised them as trash piles. Ben rerouted old energy lines to overcharge hidden panels that would burst with power when triggered. They also built a backup room deep in the station, no weapons, just emergency supplies and power. If everything else failed, that room would be their last hope. On the 4th day, the signal came. Pirate fleet detected, the computer said. 6 ships armed, approaching fast. Ben and Jera stood together on the main deck side by side. This is it, Ben said. No running, Jera replied. No fear. Ben added. They both nodded. The pirate fleet entered orbit without hiding. Their ships were loud, bright, and meant to scare. Messages flashed across the comms. You're outnumbered. Surrender the alien. Give us your station. Ben smirked. Ignore them. Jera leaned forward. They'll attack in seconds. Let them, Ben said. The first blast came hard, hitting the outer shield. The station shook, but nothing broke. Jera activated the jammers. Suddenly, the pirates' targeting systems began to fail. One of the ships missed completely, hitting a space. Then Ben triggered the first drone mine. A flash of fire tore through the second pirate ship's wing. It didn't destroy it, but it caused panic. The rest of the fleet began to spread out. Jera launched her ship. Armed with stronger weapons and human-designed stealth plating, she flew fast, weaving through fire, striking weak points. Shots were not random. They were planned. Ben monitored her from the station. Nice shot. 1 down. Too many left, Jera replied, but they're disorganized. Good time for trap 2. He activated the energy panels. 1 pirate. Ship tried to land on the dock, but as it touched down, The hidden floor panels exploded with overloaded power. The ship burst into flames, then fell apart. ZHRA smiled through the cum. Now they're scared. But the fight wasn't over. The lead pirate ship, a large black cruiser, charged its heavy cannon. It fired toward the station, hitting one of the main power towers. Sparks flew, and half the lights on the station blinked out. Ben gritted his teeth. We lost the outer shield. Jira turned sharply in space. I'm going for the cruiser. Cover me. Wait, it's too dangerous, but she was already speeding ahead. Her ship glowed with a blue trail, and her weapons fired with precision. Ben watched, heart racing. She dodged blast after blast, but the cruiser was too big, too armored. Double quotes, Zechira, he said into the come fall back. No, she replied. Not this time. Suddenly, the pirate cruiser locked onto her ship. Warning signals flashed across Ben's screen. They're charging a missile, Ben said. You have 5 seconds. Jera breathed in. Then she said, tell me where their missile bay is. Ben quickly checked the data. Bottom center, under the shield curve. Copy. Just before the cruiser launched, Jera dove low, rolled her ship, shot a full energy beam directly at the bay. The cruiser fired, then exploded from its own missile being hit at the source. The fire lit up the sky. Jera's ship spun, but remained steady, Ben gasped. You did it? Jera's voice came back, tired but calm, almost done. The remaining pirate ships saw what happened and turned to flee. They had lost 4 ships, and the last 2 didn't want to stay. Ben laughed. They're running then. Let them go, Jira said. Let them remember. Later, Jira landed back in the docking bay. Ben ran to her ship and opened the hatch. She stepped out slowly, her suit scorched but her face still calm. You're alive, Ben said, with a breath of relief. So are you, she replied. He smiled. You were amazing. She looked at him and said, we were. The station was quiet again. The lights were repaired. The sky was calm. Messages of praise came in from nearby colonies and even the Alliance patrol team. Unbelievable defense. Unknown fighter. Human and alien cooperation. Impressive. Offers were made, supplies, protection, even medals. But Ben and Jera didn't care about that. They sat together on the rooftop again, under the stars. What now? Ben asked. We rebuild, Jera said. Maybe even expand. You think we'll get more visitors? He asked. Maybe, she said. Maybe we'll teach others. Ben looked at her. Together. Jira nodded. Yes. Together. He smiled and looked up. You know, when you first walked in with that helmet and suit, I never thought I'd meet someone like you. And when I first met you, Shira said, I didn't expect kindness. They both laughed softly. Above them, the stars kept shining, and somewhere out there, pirates warned others, don't go near that station. The human and the alien are still there, and they're not afraid.